The story you are listening to is titled, I Was Born Indebted to My Younger Brother. The university entrance exam was over. For a long time, I couldn't check my scores. My parents cursed me relentlessly, calling me useless, a disgrace, and threatened to disown me. They didn't know that the scores of the top 50 candidates in the province were hidden. When I was admitted to Tsinghua University, they pleaded with me to take care of my younger brother. I shook my head and refused. Sorry, it's too late. My younger brother, Terry, and I were fraternal twins in our village. There was a rumor, one yin, one yang, a broken home. Fraternal twins were considered an ill omen. When I, Belle, was born, my parents planned to give me away. The price had been negotiated, and the buyer was about to take me, but my younger brother cried his heart out, inconsolably. My father paced back and forth anxiously. My mother had carried me out the door, but ultimately had to return and place me next to my brother to comfort him. Strangely, as soon as I was put down, he stopped crying. My mother picked me up. He started crying again. After several repetitions, my parents realized that my brother couldn't bear to be separated from me. My mother was overjoyed. The little girl already understands. Our son truly has a future. My father nodded. Well, a daughter is just one extra pair of chopsticks. If the boy can't bear it, let's keep her to be his companion. Old Mr. and Mrs. Wang from the next village also had fraternal twins, and their family seems fine. And so, amidst my younger brother's stubborn cries, I was allowed to stay in this family. My parents reminded me countless times, making me remember the debt I owed my brother for keeping me. From childhood, I wore his hand-me-down clothes, played with toys he no longer wanted. On my birthdays, I could only stand by and watch him blow out candles alone. When I was 7, my brother, after watching the drama My Fair Princess, learned the word benefactor. When we played family, he made me kneel, mimicking a scene from the show, to thank him for his great kindness. My aunt was also home then. I had a vague sense of self-respect. I felt it was humiliating, so I shook my head and refused. My cousins stood by, taunting and clapping, forcing me to kneel. I struggled, begging my mother for help. My mother sat on the sofa, cracking melon seeds, clapping and laughing. My Terry is so clever. Belle, hurry up and thank your brother. If it weren't for him, who knows where you'd be, begging in some corner. My cousin kicked my knee hard, forcing me to my knees. My brother didn't get to hear my thanks because I burst into tears. I screamed, tears streaming like a river, choking on my sobs. I didn't understand why I was crying like that. Under everyone's mocking gaze, my heart felt squeezed, thrown to the ground, and trampled countless times. To them, it was just a harmless joke, but I knelt on the ground, crying until I gagged. The atmosphere became awkward. My cousin let go of my sleeve, pouting, "This isn't fun, let's go play in the sand." The children rushed out the door while my mother remained on the sofa, legs crossed, cracking melon seeds, not sparing me a single glance from beginning to end. From then on, whenever I saw scenes of kneeling on TV, my heart would pound, my scalp would go numb, and I'd immediately change the channel. That feeling of humiliation was etched deep into my soul, impossible to erase. Yet my mother treated it as a funny story, often retelling it to neighbors. My Terry is so clever. Even as a little boy, he knew how to boss his sister around. The neighbors chimed in, praising him. So clever. If it were in ancient times, he'd surely be a high-ranking official. I couldn't understand what was so boastful about it. From childhood, no matter what my brother did, or even if he did nothing at all, there was always someone praising him. We both inherited our mother's chubby build. Whenever relatives saw my brother, they'd happily pinch his cheeks. Oh, what a cute, plump little boy. But when they saw me, they'd criticize. Why is Belle so fat? You need to watch out. Girls who are fat mature early and won't grow tall later. I would hang my head in shame, shrinking into a corner, trying to suck in my stomach to hide it. My brother stood amidst the crowd, proudly waving his chubby hands, soaking in everyone's compliments. I couldn't understand. We were both chubby, yet I was told it would hinder my development while he was praised. I looked at my brother with eyes full of admiration. I wanted to be in the spotlight too. I wanted to be praised. But no matter what I did, in the eyes of adults, there was always only my younger brother. It wasn't until I started school that I found a way to prove myself. At the end of first grade, I ranked first in the entire grade. I proudly carried my backpack and showed my report card to my mother. That's fine. My mother only glanced at it, then turned to look at my brother Terry's report card. How did Terry do? My brother's face turned red. He clutched his report card, then burst into tears. I only got 70 points, Mom. My mother, flustered, hugged him tightly, comforting him with pity. It's not your fault, it's not your fault. The test must have been too hard. 70 points is still very good. Really? My brother, eyes teary with injustice, glanced at me. But Belle got 100 points, didn't she? I excitedly said. I got 100 points in both math and Vietnamese. I wiped the sweat from my palms on my clothes and carefully held up my test paper for my mother to see. My mother snatched the paper, tearing it into pieces, feigning an air of indifference. What's the use of a daughter being talented? Terry is still much better than you. She turned to comfort my brother. Terry, darling, it's okay if you didn't do well this time. I'm telling you, girls' brains develop faster than boys', so it's not unusual for them to do well in elementary school. Just wait until middle school and boys will far surpass girls. I stood there, stunned, watching the scraps of paper fall to the ground. The light in my eyes flickered out little by little. So no matter what I did, my parents wouldn't praise me just because I was a girl. To comfort my brother, my parents took him to a restaurant for a meal. I could only stand silently in place. The door slammed shut, and the living room plunged into a terrifying, silent darkness. I clenched my fists, a raging fire of anger burning within me. Is it really like this? Are girls born inferior to boys? I was unwilling to accept it. I studied even harder, ranking first in class for many consecutive years, but my parents still didn't care. Occasionally, when relatives gathered, someone would praise me. "Sister, your Belle is so good at studying." My mother would say indifferently, "Oh, come on, any girl who studies hard in elementary school will do well. When she comes home, she buries her head in homework, studying herself to death." Not like Terry, who runs around all day, but his mind is 100 times smarter than Belle's. Just wait until he's a little older and understands things, he'll naturally surpass her. Belle has already exhausted her potential now. What will she do in middle school and high school? They talked loudly, discussing my diligent studying as if it were a sin, and praising my brother's naughtiness as something admirable. I walked past them, hugging a pile of books, my expression gradually shifting from disappointment to indifference. Is studying hard something to be ashamed of? Clearly, my teacher said diligence is a very valuable quality. My brother stuck out his tongue, making a face at me. "Belle is a dummy." My mother chuckled, patted his head, and continued telling stories to the relatives. "This boy has been smart since he was little. When I wanted to give Belle away, Terry cried so fiercely. Even so young, he understood and couldn't bear to be separated from his sister." My mother rambled on, repeating the old story from when my brother and I were born. My brother, with a test score of a few tens of points, ran around the living room proudly, as if he had just aced the imperial exam, while my first-place report card remained quietly in my backpack, a testament to my perceived inferiority in their eyes. I found it inexplicable. No matter how outstanding a daughter was, they'd find a way to belittle her. No matter how mediocre a son was, they'd find a reason to praise him. This world truly was ridiculous and pitiful. From then on, I never reported my scores home again, nor did I seek their validation. Terry Sue was the family's prince, showered with love, while I had my own stage to shine. I frantically did homework, diligently studying. School was my battlefield. I overcame every obstacle, using each test to crush countless Terry Sues. Teachers spoke of me with admiration, even openly mentioning Terry Sue in class. "How can they be twins? Why are their scores so different? Learn from your sister, Terry Sue." Terry Sue clenched his fists, his entire body trembling with rage. From childhood at home, what he said was law. I wasn't even worth a strand of his hair. How could he endure this humiliation? On the way home, he grabbed my hair, dragged me into a deserted alley, and hit me straight. We were in 8th grade then. Terry Sue was 1.7 meters tall and weighed 75 kg. As for me, because of a relative's comment when I was little that fat girls mature early, my mother rarely gave me meat. At 14, I was as thin as a bean sprout. "Belle Sue, you're so smug, aren't you? You just want to prove you're better than me, right? You're a heartless ingrate. Have you forgot? I saved your life when we were little." Terry Sue shoved me against the wall, landing punch after punch directly into my stomach. "If you dare to rank first in class one more time, just try it." "I'll kill you." I hunched over, my face pale, too much pain to utter a word. I knew he wasn't joking. My parents always spoiled him, making Terry Sue's personality increasingly aggressive, arrogant, and unreasonable. I started pretending. In exams, I would leave many questions blank, not doing them. My academic performance plummeted. The whole family seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. My mother chatted with neighbors. "I told you so." Girls can't study once they reach middle school, they have no future. That's right, isn't it? I heard this time she only ranked over 300. Terry is still the best in our school. This middle school only trains good students for high school anyway. I kept this secret deep in my heart. No one in the family discovered it. Time passed, and even Terry Sue forgot about his threat. One time, he came back from playing games with friends and saw the light in my room still on. He scoffed, "Belle Sue, your brain is probably only good for that. Well, thank me. If you don't get into university, you can go learn to make bricks or something. After all, women are just for getting married." But this time, my mother objected for the first time. Making bricks, what kind of good husband would she get? I wouldn't even get back my bride price. She still has to go to university, find a good classmate to marry. I still need to collect hundreds of thousands in bride price to marry off Terry. She turned to me. "Belle Sue, you absolutely have to get into university, understand?" I just smiled. "I know, Mom. I'll definitely get into a university, and the best one. I'll give you a big surprise." Throughout my 3 years of high school, I couldn't remember how many tests I had taken, how many topics I had memorized. I had seen the sun rise at 5:00 a.m., and I had studied nonstop until late into the night. On the day of the university entrance exam, I woke up very early as usual. Sitting by the window, I watched the sun gradually emerge from the horizon, then suddenly shoot up, hanging high in the sky. The majestic mountain ranges on either side could no longer obscure its light. The sun was brilliant, dazzling, its powerful light blinding me. I choked with emotion, large tears streaming down my face. My mother suddenly pushed open the door. Seeing me crying, she flared up, glaring. "What are you crying for? You didn't study properly normally. What's the use of crying now? You jinx! If you don't pass the university exam, I'll wring your neck. Come here and help me with breakfast." "Be gentle, don't wake Terry." I looked at the wall clock. It was only 5:00 a.m. I obediently went into the kitchen to help my mother prepare breakfast. Afterwards, I watched her carefully wake my brother. He grumbled annoyedly. "I could have slept for another 5 minutes. Why wake me up so early?" My mother smiled, coaxing him. "What can you do with another 5 minutes? Be good, son. Do well on your exam, don't be too stressed." I know. Instead of worrying about me, worry about that idiot Belle Sue. My brother took a big bite of a meat bun, looking at me with a smug expression. This year, he'd lost to me every time he took a test. I just glanced back, shrugging. "Idiot! With your inconsistent performance, how dare you claim to be better than me?" The 3 days of the university entrance exam passed in a flash. As soon as the exams ended, my parents immediately bought Terry Sue the latest iPhone and a new laptop. Terry Sue played games while scoffing at me. "Belle Sue, you're pretty good-looking. Don't worry. At worst, you can go to a vocational college. I guess the bride price won't be small." He crossed his legs, his plump body sinking deep into the sofa. My mother, meanwhile, was already excitedly calling relatives, pre-ordering a banquet, inviting everyone to our house on the day the scores were announced. "What? Why are you celebrating so early? Aren't you afraid Terry might fail?" My mother laughed heartily. "How could he? Terry has estimated his scores himself. He's definitely getting into university. What about your Belle?" My mother said disdainfully. "If she doesn't pass, she can go to work. Vocational college isn't that great anyway. Working for a few years and earning money is easier. You have to watch out for her, you know. Girls are easily enticed to run off with someone, especially a pretty girl like Belle. If she leaves, you'll have nothing left." The two of them whispered and gossiped for half the day. My mother looked at me with eyes full of resentment, as if I had already run off with someone. After the call, she booked a banquet at the largest restaurant in the county, right near our neighborhood. On the day the scores were announced, all the relatives came. The room was packed with aunts and uncles. The laptop was placed on the dining table in the living room. Everyone watched intently as my brother nervously held the mouse. He looked around, his gaze landing on me. "Hey, let's check Belle Sue's scores first, just to clear the way. If my scores are low later, no one can scold me, okay?" As soon as he finished speaking, the whole room erupted in laughter. My mother patted his shoulder, looking at him with doting affection. "Only you, my boy, would come up with such tricks. All right, let's check her scores first." My brother opened the website and entered my candidate number. The screen jumped to the results page. Everyone held their breath. Candidate name, Belle Sue. Chinese, \*****. Math, \*****. English, \*****. Behind each subject, instead of the scores everyone expected, there were only identical asterisks. Terry Sue looked bewildered. Strange, why aren't there any scores? Belle Sue, what did you do? Why aren't your scores showing? I squeezed next to Terry Sue and looked down at the screen. In the bottom corner, there was a tiny, almost unnoticeable line of text. Your rank has entered the top 50 in the province. Please check detailed results on the 27th. Tears suddenly streamed down my face. My heart pounded erratically. My body trembled uncontrollably with emotion. Teacher, I did it. Since third high school was established, no one had ever been admitted to Tsinghua or Peking University. But I did it, I really did it. My mother grabbed my hair, swung her hand, and slapped me hard across the face. I fell to the ground, my forehead hitting the floor, gushing blood. The world before my eyes turned a brilliant red. I opened my eyes, looked at the ceiling, and laughed silently. During the score checking process, there's a special situation to prevent exaggeration of the top scorer's results. The scores of the top 50 candidates in the entire province will be hidden. The whole class burst into laughter. Teacher, why are you telling us this? We haven't even had a student get into a 985 university, let alone Tsinghua or Peking University. Homeroom teacher Mr. Fang smiled kindly, his gaze piercing through the students to reach me at the back of the classroom. He nodded slightly. Is that a delusion? He paused for a second, then mumbled as if asking himself, is it a delusion? My mother kicked me hard in the stomach, screaming, Belle Sue, you useless thing. No scores, did you forget to submit your exam paper? Did you even take the exam? Blood from my forehead ran into my eyes. I hunched over, closing my eyes. No, this was not a delusion. Over 1,000 days and nights, my calloused fingers from worn pen tips, my will, and my silent rage burned within me. My dry and lonely youth, I did not waste it. In 8th grade, after Terry Sue hit me, he angrily left. I lay on the ground, looking up at the sky through a small gap, my eyes as empty as a tattered sack that had been trampled, until a hand reached out to me. My homeroom teacher, Ms. Zhou, pulled me up and brushed the dust off my clothes. I said nothing. She led me to an old wall, pointing to a corner where a small bamboo plant grew. The fence was made of hollow iron bars, but the tiny bamboo had pierced through a long iron bar, reaching straight up to the sky, its top blooming with lush green leaves. That bamboo had spent a long time in the dark. We women are like that too, Ms. Zhou gently patted my head. Belle Sue, pierce through that iron bar. No one can ever overshadow your sky again. After she left, I stood before that bamboo plant for a very, very long time. It turned out everyone had seen my tattered clothes, my thin figure, my damaged self-esteem, but no one had spoken out. When Terry Sue was on duty in the next classroom, he would run to my class and make me clean for him. My friends angrily said, "You're so big, yet you make Belle do your cleaning?" Terry Sue scoffed. "How can I sweep? My mom says these things are women's work." At lunch in the cafeteria, my parents gave Terry Sue 20 yuan for a meal, while I only got 5 yuan. I couldn't even keep those 5 yuan, because he would say he didn't have enough to eat and take my money. I could only buy a bowl of rice for 1 yuan and free seaweed soup. My mother never attended my parent-teacher conferences, but she never missed Terry Sue's. Ms. Zhou would try to find opportunities to persuade her to treat me better, but my mother would flare up. With what eyes did you see me mistreating her? Did I starve her or something? Does she pay the tuition fee of over 1,000 yuan per semester? Who do you think you are? Ms. Zhou's face turned red with embarrassment, while my mother was smug. My family's affairs are none of your business. Ms. Zhou's husband, Mr. Fang, who was a high school math teacher, knew about it. He proactively transferred me to his class. Every time there was a school-wide mock exam, he would tell me to write some answers on scratch paper. Then he would grade the scratch paper himself, comparing it with the official answers to calculate my score. Every semester, I ranked first in the grade. Mr. Fang would wink mischievously at me. "Belle Sue, you did very well on the exam." I smiled, raising my hand to cover my forehead. "Teacher, I've pierced through that iron bar." "You useless thing, how dare you still smile?" My mother kicked me while wailing. "How can I be so miserable? To give birth to a child like you who can't even get a single point on the university entrance exam. If word gets out, people will laugh themselves sick." My mother looked at me with angry eyes, her face full of annoyance. She slammed the cup in her hand to the ground. "Useless, still useless. I've spent so many years raising you, and you can't even get a single point on an exam." The glass cup shattered on the floor, fragments flying everywhere. I raised my hands to cover my face. In truth, if they had bothered to look closely, they would have seen the small text in the bottom corner of the screen, but no one did. Terry Sue casually turned off the web page. Everyone around stood watching me, waiting to mock me. In their hearts, they had long since concluded I was useless, eager to label me a failure. No scores? Then she can't even get into vocational college. What will she do now? My aunt shook her head and sighed, her tone like someone who had seen it all. I told you, what's the use of a girl studying? Look at my Lily. After finishing middle school, she quit and now works at a beauty salon, earning over 4,000 yuan a month. And you people wasted so much money raising Belle to study for a few more years. What a waste of money. My mother wiped her tears. Didn't old Master Wu's daughter next door marry a rich classmate from university? He built a house for her parents and even bought a house for her younger brother in the big city. Everyone in the village envies her. Old Master Wu said the better the university, the richer the people. Isn't my Belle prettier than their daughter? I never expected her to only have looks and no brains. Useless. If I had known, I should have given her away when she was born. Raising a dog would be better than raising you. The more my mother spoke, the angrier she became. She stepped forward and slapped me hard across the face. The relatives quickly intervened. Enough, enough, it's already like this, don't be angry anymore. Hitting her won't help. My aunt winked at me. Belle, come here and kneel to apologize to your parents. After you start working, remember to give all your salary to your mother. They raised you this big, you should be grateful, understand? My father's face was cold. Grateful? If she were grateful, she wouldn't have failed the exam like this. Were you doing it on purpose, you ingrate? Did you intentionally get no scores to anger me, huh? Get out of my house. Don't expect a single penny from me from now on. I bowed my head, slumping to the ground. Fresh blood from my forehead flowed down, staining my pale, slender neck. My mother looked at me from head to toe, then suddenly became agitated. You're dating early, aren't you? Who is he? How far have you two gone? Was it because of dating that you were distracted and forgot to fill in the answers on the test paper? She lunged forward, grabbing my hair, screaming hysterically, her face contorted with anger. Useless. Did someone take advantage of you? This sweater, wasn't it given by Ms. Zhou, but bought by that boy, wasn't it? You're truly shameless, a leech who lived off our family for so many years. Is this how you repay us? I'll kill you. My hair was yanked hard. The pain from my scalp made me stumble, dragged a few steps. I tried to stand up, my hands trembling as I supported myself. In the winter of 9th grade, Ms. Zhou had given me a sweater. During winter physical education class, after our warm-up run, the teacher asked us to take off our outer jackets. The other girls wore colorful, bright sweaters and sweatshirts, but when I took off my bulky cotton coat, underneath was a patched-up, faded purple-red quilted jacket. It was a shirt my mother bought at the market for 55 yuan. She bought one for me and an identical one for my grandmother, saying this type of old people's clothing was convenient, warm, and cheap, and no one would see it if worn underneath. But she never bought clothes from there for herself. The others looked at me in silence for a second, then burst into laughter. Ha ha, Belle Sue, are you wearing your grandma's clothes? The boisterous laughter echoed across the field. I bowed my head, staring at the tips of my shoes, trying to tell myself not to care, but my back stiffened. Every gaze directed at me felt like a sharp knife plunging into my heart. I clenched my hands into fists, silently enduring each physical education class amidst everyone's mockery. The rumor spread. Students from other classes also heard about it. Many deliberately detoured around the corner of the field to see Old Lady Sue, including the student who ranked second in the grade. I still remember his eyes, a mix of surprise and contempt. For some reason, his gaze hurt me more than all the other gazes combined. I ran back to the classroom, buried my head in my desk, and sobbed. Ms. Zhou stood at the door, looking at me without a word. After school, she slipped a bag into my hand. I bought a sweater a few days ago, but it's too tight and I can't wear it. It's perfect for you. It was a bright, rainbow-striped sweater, just like the vibrant spring days of other girls. I knew I should refuse, but I yearned for it too much. I couldn't utter a single word of refusal. I happily took the sweater home, imagining wearing it in the next PE class, everyone looking at me with admiration. But as soon as I got home, my mother saw the shopping bag in my hand and immediately came over to search it. Where did this sweater come from? And it's a brand name too. Ms. Zhou gave it to me. She said it was a reward for my high scores, I said, smiling, taking her hand. Mom, can I wear this sweater tomorrow? My mother shook her head, her face full of disapproval. No, you can't wear something so gaudy. This sweater isn't cheap, the tag is still on it. Take it back and exchange it for a sweatshirt for your brother. That was the only time I ever rebelled against my mother. I reached out and snatched the bag. My mother was furious, surprised, and indignant. She immediately grabbed the nearby ashtray and slammed it onto my shoulder. Fine, you like being pretty too much, don't you? Do you want to date early? Belle Sue, are you dating early? Very soon, my father came home. Seeing the sweater, he was equally enraged. The two of them beat me, forcing me to confess if I was dating. They even threatened to take me back to school to confront Ms. Joe. Finally, I couldn't bear it anymore and yielded. I'm not dating early. I don't need the sweater anymore. I don't need it. A teenager's fragile self-respect, shame, I abandoned it all. My entire world now consisted only of studying. Books didn't mock me. Every page, every correct answer was validation for me. I was trapped in a dark steel bar, and the light of the university entrance exam was the only ray shining down, illuminating my frail soul. Come on, we can beat her up later. Let's check the scores first. My brother's annoyed voice rang out like a royal decree. My mother immediately let go of me. My father also quickly forced a smile, rushing to the computer. All right, forget about that useless one. My good son, let Dad see how many points you got. Terry Sue was about to enter his candidate number when outside, a sudden commotion erupted. It's here. The Sue family's house is here. Mr. Sue, open the door quickly. Your family has a top scorer. Strong knocks on the door. Outside were lively laughter and chatter. My eldest aunt went to open the door, and a crowd poured in. First were a few neighbors curious to see the excitement, followed by Dean Zhao, our school's head of academic affairs, and several other teachers. Since my brother and I entered middle school, my father's business had prospered, and for the convenience of our studies, our family moved to town and bought a house, living there for 6 years and getting to know all the neighbors. Mrs. Wang, the neighbor next door, her voice like a bell, excitedly shouted, "Mr. Sue, your ancestors are truly blessed. Tsinghua University. If the teachers from 3rd High School weren't standing here, you could beat me to death, and I wouldn't believe that someone from our small county could get into Tsinghua. Last year, the best student from 1st High only got into Fuden. I never thought 3rd High could produce a top scorer. From now on, my daughter doesn't need to aim for 1st High. 3rd High is enough. 3rd High teachers truly teach well." Mrs. Wang's compliments made the teachers from 3rd High smile with satisfaction. The neighbors chattered. My parents listened for a while before finally understanding. My mother's lips trembled as she slowly reached for her chest. Top scorer, top scorer." My father's eyes welled up with tears, his hands clasped tightly together. "Tsinghua University? Is it Tsinghua in Beijing?" Dean Zhao smiled. "It's not decided yet. Belle Sue's family's phone couldn't be reached. Both Tsinghua and Peking University admissions offices have called the school. Which university to choose is up to your daughter to decide." My father, stunned, turned to hug Terry Sue tightly. "Tsinghua University? Son, my son is so talented. Dad is so proud of you." My mother, both crying and laughing, also ran to hug my brother. The three of them embraced tightly. "Terry, my precious darling, you've been smart since you were little. Mom knew you weren't ordinary. You're truly outstanding." The three of them cried and cheered, while the teachers and neighbors exchanged awkward glances. Mrs. Wang suddenly spoke up. "Hey, what are you doing? The top scorer is Belle, not Terry. It's Mr. and Mrs. Sue's daughter, Belle Sue." She pulled me forward, saw the blood on my forehead, and exclaimed in alarm, "Belle, you're bleeding. Let Auntie take a look. Quick, Zio Qian, go home and get some disinfectant. We need to treat Belle's wound." Dean Zhao also pushed forward, looking at me and asking, "Belle Sue, what happened to you? Do you need to go to the hospital?" My parents were dumbfounded. "No way, she has no scores, not a single point. How could it be her?" Dean Zhao glared. "The scores of the top 50 in the province are hidden. How could that be wrong?" Terry Sue screamed. "No way, she always loses to me in exams. How could she be the top scorer? I'm the top scorer, I am." He pushed my parents aside and rushed to the computer, entering his candidate number to check his scores. Very quickly, the screen displayed the result. Candidate name, Terry Sue. Total score, 468. Terry Sue's face drained of all color. 468 points? I only got 468 points? Dean Zhao nodded. "Young man, that's a good score. You'll likely get into a university." Terry Sue, unwilling to accept, entered my candidate number again to check my scores. The result still showed asterisks as before. Dean Zhao pointed to the line of text at the bottom of the screen. "See, your rank has entered the top 50 in the province." After he finished speaking, my brother happily took out his phone to take a picture of this page. "This is my first time seeing it too. Come on everyone, take a look. Haha, a little good luck." Under the relentless praise from the teachers, my parents finally realized that the top scorer was me, the daughter they once considered to have no future, the useless Belle Sue in their eyes, not Terry Sue, the one they always expected to achieve great things. My aunt exclaimed, "Belle got into Tsinghua? Terry also got into university? Sister, you're so capable, you really know how to raise children. Yes, Belle truly has potential. Both children are good." In front of the teachers and relatives, amidst everyone's loud cheers, my parents forced a smile and reluctantly chimed in with a few words of praise for me. My mother reached out to touch my forehead. "This girl, you did so well on the exam, why didn't you say so earlier?" I tilted my head, avoiding her hand. Her hand brushed empty air. Her eyes changed, but she forced down her dissatisfaction. Terry Sue completely collapsed. "No way, she always lost to me in exams, she cheated." "She definitely cheated. Teachers, please check, she definitely cheated." Dean Zhao, head of academic affairs, straightened his face and scoffed. "Cheating? This kind of score? If I gave you the standard answers to copy, you wouldn't even be able to copy them down correctly. All the results of her previous mock exams are already in her file. Mr. Fang has made it all clear. Why aren't your scores as high as hers? Don't you know in your own heart?" The teachers looked at Terry Sue with disgusted eyes. "Life is long. After leaving school and entering society, there will be many people better than you. By then, will people be as lenient with you as they are now? Terry Sue, you can deceive others, but don't deceive yourself. If you continue like this, you won't go far in life." Relatives and neighbors were all stunned upon hearing this, looking at Terry Sue. His face was pale, his hands clenched into fists, his teeth grinding audibly. Dean Zhao, not wanting to make the atmosphere more awkward, changed the subject, saying that the school and the education department will award me scholarships. After the teachers left, my parents and the relatives went to book a banquet at a restaurant. The entire neighborhood heard the news. They hung congratulatory banners everywhere, from the community gate to the main avenue. All that day, many relatives and friends came to our house to congratulate us, bringing red envelopes. My parents' phones rang nonstop. At first, my mother was bewildered, not knowing what to do, but then she became smug, patting the table and laughing. "This girl has been diligent since she was little, it's true. She knows how to focus, very obedient. Oh, everyone, why be so polite? Let's just drink?" "Yes, don't worry, I'll tell her to tutor your child." After hanging up the phone, my mother rubbed her stiff cheeks from too much smiling, leaned back in her chair, and sighed with relief. "Belle, the teachers said the school will give you a 20,000 yuan scholarship, and the education department will give you another 100,000 yuan. The county and city governments also have awards. My goodness, you've earned as much as my salary for several years. Tomorrow, I'll buy you a phone and a computer. Which kind do you want? The same kind as your brother's, okay?" My mother looked at me with a solicitous expression. My father, still a little tipsy, also nodded. "Belle, whatever you want, Dad will buy it for you." For the first time in my life, their eyes left my brother. I had worked hard for 18 years to reach this day. Books piled up like steps beneath my feet. I climbed them one by one, finally standing at the pinnacle under the brilliant lights. I spread my arms, embracing that warm stream of light. It was something my brother didn't have to do anything for. He easily obtained it just by being born, the love of our parents. "Belle Sue, they finally love you." Looking at the gaze I had longed for in countless dreams, I didn't feel happy, only sorrow. Terry Sue sat on the sofa, his face dark. He gave a cold, smug laugh. "What? You're an ungrateful ingrate, a bastard. Why did you pretend to do badly on exams? To make the whole family laugh? You damn scoundrel, always scheming to harm people." The more he spoke, the angrier he became. He suddenly leaped off the sofa and lunged towards me. I raised my hand, intending to hit him. "You bastard, Belle Sue, you're trash. You embarrassed me in front of the teachers." I stood still, not moving. My parents had already started shouting. My father rushed over and held Terry Sue's arm while I just smiled. I picked up a glass cup from the table and threw it hard at Terry Sue's head. Blood flowed from his head. Terry Sue stood frozen, his eyes filled with disbelief. "You hit me? You dared to hit me? I'll kill you." I looked straight into his eyes. "Tomorrow, I have a TV interview. Try hitting my face." I pushed my face close to Terry Sue's. He roared, struggling to break free and charge at me, but my father held him tight. The two of them wrestled and fell to the floor. I walked over, bending down in front of him. "Terry Sue, you can steal my toys, my clothes, my pets, my money, everything I have, but," I pointed to my temple, "you cannot steal what's in here." My gaze was cold. For the first time in my life, I stood tall before him, looking down with an arrogant posture. Terry Sue went crazy, screaming, "Who do you think you are? "Mom, Dad, look at her. Why does she dare to talk to me like that?" My mother stood nearby, trying to mediate. All right. It's just siblings fighting. It's okay." "He's your brother, don't fight with him anymore." I gave a faint smile. What a fresh excuse. When my father scolded Terry Sue, I returned to my room. Not long after, my mother brought a bowl of peeled longans into my room. This was a privilege only my brother had ever received. "Belle, don't be angry with your brother. He's still young and doesn't understand things. Later, when your parents are old, he will be your only relative in the world. Siblings must take care of each other. When you get married, if you have a brother, your in-laws won't dare to bully you. You must study hard in university and later marry a good husband like other girls, then buy a house for your brother in Beijing. Your mother would be so satisfied." My mother excitedly painted a picture of the future, her eyes shining, then began to recount old stories of how much my brother had helped me when I was little. "He's stubborn, but you're the older sister, you should give in to him a little." I replied indifferently, "I'm tired. I want to sleep." "Yes, go to sleep, go to sleep." My mother closed the door and left. I got up and poured the entire bowl of longans into the trash. I don't know what my father said, but very soon, Terry Sue accepted the reality and no longer got angry with me. That long summer, I tutored in several places. With my reputation as a top scorer, parents were very generous with their payments. I accumulated a small private fund. My parents tightly held onto the scholarship money, saying it was for my university tuition. I didn't argue. There was no winning an argument anyway. I was used to enduring these few small amounts of money. They weren't worth my concern. On the day I left for Beijing, my parents saw me off at the train station. Terry Sue stood by, head bowed. At his feet were the limited edition sneakers he had coveted for so long, bought with my scholarship money. My mother nudged his elbow gently. He looked up, saying awkwardly, "Have a safe trip." Goodbye." The train began to move. I pressed my face against the window, looking out into the distant horizon. The sun was rising, its brilliant light stretching endlessly. All the gray days were left behind yesterday. Under the boundless blue sky was vast and expansive freedom. My university life was incredibly busy. In the summer, I stayed in Beijing, tutoring, never returning home. My parents seemed to have changed. They sent living expenses regularly and called to check on me, but I always used the excuse of being busy with studies and quickly hung up. After that dark period, beautiful clothes or flashy jewelry no longer held much meaning for me. I maintained a simple lifestyle, accumulating a substantial sum. The only difference was that I let my hair grow long. Before, my parents always forced me to cut it short, fearing I would date early. It wasn't until I was 18 and left my hometown that I had the right to decide about my own hair. I cherished my long hair, using the best shampoos and conditioners to keep it shiny and soft. Just as I would cherish the life I could now hold in my own hands. After graduating from university, I started a business with a few friends. We seized the opportunity from the short video wave, and the company quickly grew large and strong. I drove a Mercedes back to my hometown. Everyone in the village ran out to see it. My eldest aunt walked around the car, looking at the logo, then gasped in admiration. "It's true, you have to study well, graduate from Tsinghua, and you'll make money so early." If I had known, I should have made our Lily study all the way through high school. My mother crossed her arms, smiling smugly. "Your Lily's studying was useless anyway. With such low scores, she wouldn't have gotten into university. Not like my Belle, she's been smart since she was little." My aunt quickly flattered. "That's right, how can she compare to Belle? She's both good at studying and clever." During dinner, my mother continuously put food on my plate, then subtly glanced at my brother. Terry Sue hesitated for a moment, then said, "Sister, I have a girlfriend. We're planning to get married next year." For the first time, Terry Sue didn't call me by my name but called me sister. My father rubbed his hands, took out his phone, and showed me a picture of the girl. She was from the province and had good connections. The girl's family requested a bride price of 280,000 yuan and a house in the city center. "Belle, can you transfer 2 million yuan to your father?" I put my chopsticks down. Do I look like someone who has 2 million yuan? My parents looked at me in surprise. My years of indifference had made them think I was still the same obedient and docile person. My mother started using sweet words. Seeing that I still didn't agree, she burst into tears, flipped the table, and cursed me as ungrateful and heartless. Terry Sue stared at me, his eyes heavy. "What do you want to give us the money?" "Do you want me to kneel in front of you to be satisfied?" I shook my head. "First, getting married and buying a house is your responsibility. My parents helping you is their business, it has nothing to do with me. Second, if you truly want me to give you money, I have one condition. As long as you meet that condition, I will give you the money." My mother lifted her head, her eyes red. "What condition, Belle? Tell me. I'll agree to anything." I chuckled softly. "Mom, I want that sweater." My mother's pupils dilated. She collapsed onto the floor, pulling her hair and wailing, "You still resent your mother? After all these years, you still blame your mother?" The curtain of harmony was torn apart. Inside was a wound that had festered for a long time, beyond healing. My parents cried and made a scene. I ignored their madness, quietly packed my luggage, and left home immediately, returning to Beijing. My kind cousin, Lily Chen, came to see me. She came to be a mediator. She and her husband ran a fried chicken shop in town, earning several 100,000 yuan a year. Their life was quite comfortable. She held her child, sighing as she talked about the difficulties of the past few years. "It hasn't been easy, Belle. Back then, I quit school early to work and earn money to support my younger brother through university. In the end, he graduated but couldn't find a job and has been freeloading at home for half a year now. Isn't that ridiculous? My parents worked so hard to raise him and he turned out like this. Now my old lady praises me all the time. Looking back, I think it's also thanks to them. They spoiled him too much, making him useless, while I entered society early, went through many hardships, and ended up living better than him." My cousin took my hand. "Belle, don't blame your parents anymore. If they hadn't favored boys over girls, you wouldn't have worked so hard and achieved such good results. We're all family. Let's forget the past." My cousin's eyes were full of pride and contentment. She had convinced herself that it was thanks to her parents' injustice that she strived and achieved her current life. She had made peace with her past, but I couldn't. Wang Shu once said that the most insidious and shameless praise in the world is to use the suffering of the poor to charm those at the bottom of society. Suffering will always be suffering. It doesn't help people grow or bring success. It only causes pain and leaves psychological trauma. Those who are fortunate enough to overcome suffering are merely statistical outliers. I got into Tsinghua not because of my parents' gender bias, but thanks to my own persistent efforts and a bit of luck. There are many girls like my cousin who had their right to education taken away, their path to advancement blocked. They could only work as laborers and eventually sell themselves for a slightly higher price to earn money to marry off their family's precious son. Do they need to be grateful for that? Cousin, actually, in middle school, your grades were much better than your brother's. Have you ever thought about what would happen now if you hadn't quit school back then? My cousin froze, the smile on her lips slowly fading. She was silent for a long time, not saying another word. My cousin had also failed. My mother rushed over, yelling and making a scene. I closed the car door, stepped on the gas, and drove straight ahead. The three of them stood at the community gate, their angry and discontented figures gradually shrinking, then disappearing completely in the rearview mirror. Before me was a brilliant, sun-drenched sky.